Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Producer channel here at YouTube, and welcome to episode number 12 of Box Set Showcase. Now, for episode number 12 is of course going to be focused on the complete albums 1979-1988 for Saxon. Now this again is not a new box set. This of course originally was released in 2014, which would have been the same year I had purchased this. And again, since 2014, it's been out of print, especially, and of course I've seen this fetch for some pretty, pricey stuff. Again, it goes for some money definitely these days. But the reason for me doing this, just like with one of my previous, which would be the Whitesnake one, just like with that one, this was one of those I wanted to do basically a newer box set showcase on this. So I wanted to do a much more better in-depth look on this box set. I originally had showed this many years ago, 2015 to be exact. I did just a year after buying this, and again, it was a part of my Saxon collection video, which really was very small. It's fucking puny, but I showed it in there, and the thing is, I could have done better, and that's why I'm doing this. I definitely want to do a lot more better. So here we go. Without further ado, just instead of basically a minute to eliminate time tabs and so on, here I will be going into the video to then show all of this. Without further ado, let's go right in. So here we have the box here. Just the front. The back here, of course, with all 10 of the CDs here. For again, track listing and so on. We have a spine here. All right, now it's on to, of course, the CD. Let's open the box here. All right, so here's our CD1 here, which of course, get this out of the way, as of course is the very first Saxon album from 1979. So the front cover here. The back. Here we have the track listing. Of course, we have bonus tracks here, which again are all demo versions for at least some of these songs, including some live versions here, which are, I believe, are taken from the Donington show. Again, at the very first Monsters of Rock. All right, so there's again all the demo stuff. Again, all recorded, I believe, when they were also under the name Son of a Bitch during this time period. All right, so now it's on to, of course, to show the CD. Definitely not a bad album. I definitely do enjoy this album quite a bit. I think I've already have done maybe a spotlight on this album. I already did like an album of the week video on this one. Definitely, though, over time, it isn't really my favorite Saxon album, but it's definitely an album that I do enjoy and I still do like. So, but again, humble beginnings for Saxon. So there's CD1 there. Now it's on to CD number 2, which of course is none other than the classic Wheels of Steel. Alright, so here we have the cover here. The back cover, again emulating every bit of the original LP release. And of course here we have our listing for a lot of the bonus tracks. Again, 2 demo versions for, of course, Susie Hold On and of course, the title track for the album, Wheels of Steel. And we have some live versions. I think one of these is actually a B-side for one of the 7-inches. But the next couple here are all from the Donington show. But the quality does kind of vary. Some of it ends up being a mono and then eventually then goes back to being stereo. It's definitely rough recording, but still it's not bad at all. Definitely not bad sound quality. Definitely, again, definitely was seemed to be a very good show for Saxon, especially during that period. So, where's the CD? Classic album. I don't have to say much. This was also one I also had spotlighted as a album of the week. Definitely a classic album for sure, and it also was one of the very first Saxon albums I ever bought, I ever owned. Just a great album all around, and definitely one of my absolute favorites from Saxon. So, Wheels of Steel, disc number 2. And on to disc number 3 is another classic album. Of course, it's the follow-up, released the same year of 1980. That's, of course, The Strong Arm of the Law. So we have, of course, the front cover, the back cover. Of course, we have our track listing for, of course, bonus tracks here. Most of these are definitely like alt mixes and so on. That's so that's about it. And of course, a different version for, of course, the song 6 from Girls, which was under the name Mandy. Definitely not bad. All right, so there we go. Now the CD. Another classic album here. I don't have to say much. It's another classic album. Though I do have to definitely bring up a little bit a little interesting factor. I guess I own 2 versions of this one. I have also the 2006 remaster. And there's some differences, and that's also when it came to the mastering. I don't know what happened. It seems like maybe when they were doing the tape transferring, or maybe it could have been after editing it or saving the file. I don't know what happened, but there's definitely a speed quality issue when it comes to at least the second half of the album, especially when you get into, of course, Hungry Years. It just seemed somehow the speed quality just seems to have changed a bit. Like it's a lower pitch than the normal pitching of the rest of these 5 songs here. That was never much of an issue on the 2006 and earlier 1997 remaster. It was no issues at all with any of those. It was never an issue on here, but seemed to have been an issue with this. Again, this is using the 2009 newer remastering, and at least from that point, from 2009, and it had to have been an issue on there. I don't know what happened, but it seemed like there was definitely a speed and pitch issue with this. I mean, it's very noticeable. I mean, it's still very listenable. It's not, ungodly and fucking horrific, but it just seems to be, for sure, very apparent there, and it's very noticeable. But that's all I can definitely can comment on. So anyways, still, very, very cool. Again, part of the box set. I mean, I already have, again, another the 2006 repress, which uses the 1997 remastering, which none of the issues, like I've stated, is on that copy. So, very, very cool. So, then they have at least a part of that. That's still not bad, just a little minor issue with this version of this remaster, at least, of Strong with the Law. Alright, so there you go. Disc number 3, Strong with the Law. That's on the disc number 4, which of course is Denim and Leather. Another album that is pretty much considered a classic. And that's for sure. Alright. So, Denim and Leather. Here we got the front cover here. Back cover. Again, we got some bonus tracks over here. Again, we got ourselves a remixed version of 20,000 Feet, which had to have been taken from at least a aged cassette copy, because it's a very rough sounding remix of it. So it's definitely something. It's definitely something. All right. So, and of course, some of these are definitely are like live versions and so on. Maybe come in B-sides. I don't know. For I know, again, as far as I remember, good sounding live versions, anyways. As far as the recording wise, and the mastering, very very cool. There you go. And the CD. Definitely another classic album for sure. Again, I mean, from Wheels of Steel to Storm of the Law, and of course this, it's just fucking classic studio albums all the way through here. Again, definitely from the holy trinity of just great slew of albums here for any band, especially for when it comes to the new wave of British heavy metal, especially Saxon being a part of that. We're one of the again, we're like the forerunners of that movement, along with Iron Maiden and Def Leppard and so on. These, again, just a great slew of albums. So, there, them in leather. Also, as I was looking through the box set, I've noticed that there's a disc missing, and I'm going to pull it out real quick here. Here we go. That's, of course, is disc number 5. That's, of course, is none other than the classic live album. That's, of course, is The Eagle Has Landed. All right, so we have, of course, the front cover here, back cover. Of course, we have bonus tracks, which in many ways extends the album, because these were all also recorded during this same tour, and really kind of makes the sound a little bit longer, and actually it's probably the closest as you're going to get to a true live offering of this album, basically. This is actually very cool. They actually have, again, other great live versions, again, for like, and the band's played on. See the Light Shining, Frozen Rainbow, Midnight Rider, Dallas 1 p.m., and Hungry Years. I mean, it's crazy that some of these songs were never on the actual release, but the fact that you add these others to really extend the album that were recorded on the same tour, good lord, is it cool. And it ends up making the album a really cool experience. Really, it's one of those albums that really should have been a double live record, since they played a lot of songs, plenty of those, again, on this same tour. Anyways, I digress. Now, of course, the disc here. All right. So, again, just a classic live album here. Just one of the, again, a great album, of course, in Saxon's period. Definitely in many ways also can be seen as an end of an era, because after this, they end up really kind of start experimenting a little bit with their sound. Definitely start to get a little more commercial here and there. And definitely the album's, the quality definitely really starts to go, you know, up and down in terms of just the writing and so on. But yeah, just a classic album though. So, The Eagle Has Landed live. That was disc number 5. Now on to disc number 6. That, of course, is none other than 1983's Power and the Glory. So we have the front cover here. Back cover. I don't know. The camera's decided to be a little asshole here. Why the fucking camera's blurry? Ah, there we go. Finally. Okay. So there's the back cover here. Little technical issues there. Okay. Of course, again, as far as bonus tracks, we have, of course, a live version of Denim and Leather, which, of course, was actually in some ways, I think, was missing off of the, yeah, it was kind of pretty much missing off the actual live album, which is crazy. Again, they were on tour for, of course, for the Denim and Leather album when they were doing that one, so the fact that Denim and Leather was never properly recorded live during that, or it could have been. This could have been from the same tour as The Eagle Has Landed, or at least the whole Denim and Leather tour. Anyways, though, I digress. We have some demo versions here, including, of course, the 1982 version of Susie Hold On, which really isn't. It's actually more of a raw, uncut version of this track, and you can really hear basically Biff structuring the band basically on where to add and when to stop and so on. It's not really the true 1982 version that ended up on this album here on the US pressings for Power and the Glory. So it's kind of a raw, unmixed version of the re-recorded version of Susie Hold On. Though interesting, though definitely one that is only worth listening to at least maybe once. The rest of the demos here, again, are just recorded for during this album. And of course, we also even have some songs that weren't on the album. That's, of course, one being Stampin' Rock, which eventually will get re-recorded as well during this same sessions with lyrics change called Make 'Em Rock, which eventually was properly recorded, but didn't get to see the light of day until that Diamonds and Nuggets compilation that in like a decade later. And of course now with some of these later or the more recent reissues for Power and the Glory, it's and then was finally added as a bonus track. And of course, another one here we also have is, what is it? Not Saturday Night. That's another track that definitely did not ever get properly re-recorded. Though it's a fine track. But there's another one here. Turn Out the Lights. That one eventually definitely also, again, got re-recorded as well. And during these sessions again. But, again, properly recorded, but didn't see the light. That version didn't see the light of day until the Diamonds and Nuggets compilation. But, of course, just like with Make 'Em Rock, again, it got those two eventually were officially put on the more recent reissues for Power and the Glory. All right, so now on to the CD. Here. This is a favorite album of me. I mean, after saying that they definitely would start to experiment a little bit after the Eagle Has Landed live album, there are some aspects of commercial feeling to this sound, but for the most part, this is still a very classic sounding Saxon album. This is still very much metal. This is definitely probably, again, for at least this, it has a really much a straight up metal feel for this album. Normally, a lot of the earlier albums definitely had more of a hard rock feel. I mean, you still get some of that, but for the most part, this is straight up metal here. This is a great album for me, and it's definitely one of my absolute favorites from Saxon. Definitely a great album that doesn't get enough appreciation. So, there you go. Disc number 6 with Power and the Glory. Now on to disc number 7, which of course is Crusader from 1984. We have the front cover here. Back cover. And of course, we have some bonus tracks over here. Again, a lot of demo versions, but there's some two songs here that didn't get added onto the album, that were never, I guess, in many ways, were properly re-recorded or remixed and so on. That's, of course, is Borderline and Helter Skelter. And Helter Skelter is not a cover. Just to let you know, that is not a cover. These two songs should have been on the album. I'll just go up right there. These two songs should have been the album. I would say these should have replaced Bad Boys Like to Rock and Roll and Rock City. Maybe even maybe even Do It All For You, maybe. I don't know. These two should have been on the album, and it probably would have made it even more enjoyable for me. So I digress. CD. Definitely the beginnings of them really getting a lot more commercial sounding. This is even more of a melodic album, and also very less heavy sounding too compared to Power of the Glory. And also the production isn't nearly as metallic sounding as Power of the Glory. I mean, Kevin Beamish is the one who does the production work, and I do not care for his production work. I think Jeff Glicksman, I think, was a much better producer. I know some people, I've seen some reviews knocking the production for Power of the Glory, but this right here is probably the biggest offender when it comes to just really bland and really thin and tinny, weak production and mixing. It's got no power behind it. I know there are some people that do enjoy this album, but me, I have a bit of tough times listening to this album, and it's all, again, from the production to, of course, even some of the picking for songs. Again, maybe if they had added Borderline and Helter Skelter onto here, it would have been a much more, a better, enjoyable listen for me. So Crusader pretty much is kind of the beginning when it comes to really the more weaker period of Saxon in many ways. So again, not a bad album though, but far from being their best album in my opinion. But again, did I show the CD? Yeah, I already did. So there we go. Now it's on to disc number 8. That, of course, is 1985's Innocent is No Excuse. So we have the front cover here. Back cover. We have some bonus tracks over here. Again, some of these are all like B-side material and so on. Again, we have some pretty cool B-side stuff on here. Again, stuff like Krakatoa and Live Fast, Die Young. And these two tracks are great fucking headbangers. Very pre-sounding. Very good stuff. But it's, again, maybe these two songs should have also been on the album. But again, they're great fucking B-side tracks. Really good songs. So here, CD. To me, there are some people that tend to really kind of, again, tend to be a little bit very kind of iffy with the sound. Some really do like the sound. Some tend to really kind of rate this as, again, one of Saxon's weakest albums. To me, I'm gonna go out there. I actually prefer this way more to Crusader. I prefer this album a lot more to Crusader, and I don't care if that is an unpopular opinion. That is my honest-to-God opinion. As far as when it comes to even production and so on, I prefer this to at least Crusader. I think there's at least a little bit more of a punch being brought back into this album in terms of, again, just as the quality and in terms of even the structuring and the writing and so on. I think is a lot more coherent and better on this album, in my not so honest opinion, if I have to say. I mean, or humble opinion is much more better. It's not very fucking humble, I'll tell you that. So again, Innocent is No Excuse. I mean, I love most of these songs on here. I don't even care if they were trying to go for a Def Leppard feel. Hell, this is a lot more heavier than anything Def Leppard was doing past this time anyways. I mean, this album, even in many ways, I think is a lot better than Pyromania, even though I don't mind Pyromania. But again, there's some great fucking tracks on here. Devil Rides Out. Fucking, Everybody Up. Gonna Shout. Broken Heroes I also fucking dig. Give It Everything You've Got. Raise Some Hell. There's just, to me, there's definitely some good songs on this album. So yeah, one of my favorite Saxon albums, at least from the more commercial period. Still very heavy for at least a commercial sounding album. So there we go. Disc number 8. Innocent is No Excuse. However, I really can't, all the praise I had for Innocent is No Excuse, I can't say the same for this album here. That's, of course, is Rock the Nations. Alright, so here we have the front cover here. Back cover. Let me see if we can find the here we have some bonus tracks down here. Chase of Fate is a B-side track and should have been on the fucking album. Okay, I'm gonna go right there. It's an instrumental, but this should have been on the album. I would have replaced this over fucking goddamn Party Till You Puke. Good lord, the Chase of Fate should have at least been an album track, and Party Till You Puke seemed like one of those that should have been a goddamn B-side. Hell, I wouldn't even mind if it was never released to begin with. So, there you go, I digress. Got some other great live versions and so on here. Again, those are your bonus tracks. And now we have the CD there. Oh boy, where do I completely start? There's already a pretty long video anyways, but you know what, I don't care. Again, we're going through some pretty cool some albums anyways through this box set, which again has been out of print, but good God. Alright, there's a few songs I do dig on this sound. There's a few songs I do dig. I actually like the title track. I'm very fond of it. I do like the Battle Cry is probably one of the best songs off this album. By far, that is the best song on this album. But again, there's I don't mind We Came Here to Rock. I don't mind freaking Running Hot. But even I don't mind a little bit of You Ain't No Angel. But for the most part, bleh. It's just a bleh. A bleh. Yeah, not a good album. Not a good album to begin with. So there you go. All right. Last disc. That's the track. That is disc number 10. Destiny. For 1988. So you have the front cover. Back cover. Some bonus tracks here. Again, mostly alt mixes and some live B-sides and so on. They're really nothing else to write home about. So yeah, correct. Now, the CD. Oh boy. okay, I'm gonna be upfront. This album took me plenty of years to actually really warm up to this album, to the point to where I actually do like this one a lot better than Rock the Nations. Though I don't like it as much as Innocent is No Excuse, and it's definitely nowhere on the caliber of any of the stuff they did prior to Power, at least after or prior to Crusader. Again, those albums again from Wheels of Steel, Storm of the Law, Denim and Leather, and Power and the Glory. It's not on the quality of those albums, and it's definitely not on the quality of any of the albums that came after this album. I mean, again, the most recent period, it's not on the quality here, but it's a fine, good, melodic, hard rock album. I actually do dig this. It's definitely grown on me. I mean, yeah, the cover of the Christopher Cross cover is kind of one of those, you either take it or leave it, one of those. It's decent. It's fine. It definitely was a pretty minor hit for Saxon, especially, I guess, even the States, actually. It was a minor hit, but for the most part, it's not a bad album at all. It's definitely not a metal record, but it's a fine, good, solid, melodic rock album, and it's still by far better than anything Def Leppard was releasing at this time. Good God, I'll take this over Hysteria and Adrenalize and a fucking heartbeat. I'd take this over any of those two albums. Especially anything even after Def Leppard did, after any of those. Good God, I'll take this over any of those fucking albums from Def Leppard, at least from everything prior to Pyromania and after Pyromania. I'll take this over fucking Hysteria and Adrenalize and Songs in the Sparkle Lounge and the self-titled album from 2015. I'll take this album over any of those albums in a heartbeat. There you go. There is the box set. There is the Saxon, the complete albums, 1979, 1988. Again, it's been out of print for at least plenty of years. I mean, it wasn't very cheap when I bought this. It wasn't very cheap. But you know what? I'm glad to have it. And I also have the other set as well, the Solid Book of Rock, which at some point I'll eventually even go through that as well. That's a very big monster set anyways. So there you go. Hope y'all enjoyed. This is Every Thrasher Sam out, and I'll see y'all later. Take care, everyone.